Ever get that, like, kind of weird feeling, when you think about, like, all the stuff we humans create?
Oh, yeah.
The cities and the highways and all the
Yeah.
gadgets? And what would happen to it all if we just vanished?
Yeah.
No big apocalypse or anything, just poof, gone.
Right.
That's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
We've got this really cool article from Popular Science called Without Humans, What Would Happen to Earth?
It's quite a thought experiment. It
Yeah.
really makes you think about like how impermanent our creations are.
Yeah, and how powerful nature is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with something I know you find pretty interesting, all of our impressive infrastructure.
Hmm.
What happens to all that when there's no one around to maintain it?
Well, the thing is, it wouldn't take very long for things to start falling apart. I
Really?
mean, we're talking power grids failing like almost immediately,
Oh, wow.
pipes bursting, tunnels flooding.
Huh.
Our world would start to crumble pretty quickly without us.
So all those dystopian novels where like nature takes over the cities are actually kind of onto something?
Totally.
That's kind of cool, but also a little creepy.
Yeah. And it would happen faster than you think.
Really?
Like newer buildings would actually decay faster than older ones.
Wait, really? I would have thought it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, a lot of the older buildings were constructed with way more durable materials and techniques.
Ah,
Brick and stone,
right.
built to last. But these days, it's all about speed and efficiency.
Yeah.
So they use a lot of lighter materials that need way more maintenance.
So they wouldn't last long without us around to fix them.
Nope,
So all of our skyscrapers and highways would basically just become like fossils of our civilization.
pretty much. You could call them technofossils.
Big new fossil.
Yeah, they'd be like remnants of human technology.
Yeah.
Little clues for whoever comes after us.
Or aliens.
Or aliens, right?
Yeah.
Giving them a peek into how we lived.
So, like, I'm a future archaeologist digging through the rust of a skyscraper thousands of years from now.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It is.
But what about the rest of life on Earth?
Yeah.
Does everything just go back to like some perfect pre-human state?
Well, nature's definitely not just sitting back and watching.
Right.
It's always adapting, always evolving to fill any void.
Yeah. And life on Earth has already survived some crazy stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions,
It's incredibly resilient.
like Chernobyl. That's the classic example. Even after a nuclear disaster, it's like a wildlife sanctuary now. It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, it's a great example of nature's ability to reclaim even the most damaged environments.
So are we thinking we'd see something similar on a global scale without humans?
Most likely.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a straight reset to like pre-human times.
Right.
Evolution is super complex. The results would be fascinating.
And unpredictable.
Totally unpredictable.
Speaking of unpredictable, what about climate change? If we're gone, wouldn't that fix things?
Well, it's not that simple.
Uh,
Removing human emissions would definitely help. But a lot of the effects are already set in motion.
I see.
Rising sea levels, weird weather patterns, ocean acidification.
Yeah.
That's going to stick around for a long time.
Hmm.
Centuries, even millennia.
So even though nature is tough, it still takes a hit.
For sure. It's a good reminder that what we do now has a real impact on the future.
Yeah.
Like way, way in the future. That's what deep time is all about.
Deep time.
It's thinking about Earth's history on a massive scale.
Yeah.
Like billions of years.
Wow.
In that context, human existence is just a blink.
Yeah.
But we still manage to have a huge impact.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
Okay, so buildings crumble, nature takes over, climate change keeps going. But what about all the dangerous stuff we leave behind?
Like what?
Like nuclear power plants. I know the article mentioned that without us, a lot of them would probably melt down.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be game over for most life on Earth?
it would definitely be devastating. No question.
Yeah.
Widespread contamination and ecological damage.
Hmm.
But you have to remember, the Earth is huge.
That's true.
And life is amazingly good at adapting. Remember all those mass extinctions?
Oh, yeah.
Asteroids, volcanoes.
Right.
Life found a way. So yeah, multiple Chernobyls would be bad, but it wouldn't be the end.
So some life would probably survive the initial chaos. But who takes over then?
Ooh, good question.
Who are the front runners in this post-human world?
Honestly, it's impossible to say for sure. Evolution's pretty unpredictable,
Right.
but we can make some guesses.
Okay.
Like the other article talks about generalists.
Generalists.
Yeah, species that can live almost anywhere and eat anything, they would have a big advantage.
So like rats taking over the world.
Maybe. They're definitely adaptable.
Yeah.
And they reproduce quickly.
Yeah.
But they're not alone.
Right.
Cockroaches, maybe.
Yeah.
Or crows. Certain plants. Who knows? It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. It really is, like shuffling a deck of cards and seeing what hand you get dealt. But there's this one thing that really hit me while we were getting ready for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Even if all life on Earth eventually disappears, there's still a little piece of us out
I
there.
mean, the Voyager spacecraft.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Still out there drifting through space.
Launched back in the 70s,
Right.
carrying those golden records with information about us, music,
Yeah.
languages, pictures of Earth, a message in a bottle for the universe.
It's almost poetic, isn't it?
It is.
Like a part of humanity could outlive the planet itself. Really puts things in perspective.
It does. It shows that our impact can go way beyond our physical existence.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe someday, billions of years from now, some alien civilization will find those Voyager spacecraft and get a glimpse of who we were.
Oh, right.
Okay, now I'm getting chills.
Uh-huh.
This is getting pretty heavy.
I know. It's fascinating, though.
It is. But before we get lost in space, I think it's time to bring things back down to Earth.
And talk about what this all means for us while we're still here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what are our responsibilities now?
I'm with you.
All right, so we've imagined what happens to Earth without us. Cities crumbling, nature coming back, even nuclear meltdowns. But it feels like there's something bigger here, something beyond just those physical changes.
I think you're right. This isn't just about some post-apocalyptic future. It's about getting a new perspective.
Yeah, like our place in the bigger picture.
Exactly. It really makes you realize that we're not separate from nature.
Right. We're part of it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And if we know Earth can keep going, even thrive without us, what does that tell us about how we should be acting now?
That's a good question. It's like we have this power to change the planet, but we're only here for a short time.
Exactly. Our time here is just a tiny blip in Earth's history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like deep time.
Exactly. Billions of years. Imagine a timeline of Earth's history. Humans would just be a tiny little sliver at the very end.
So we have a big impact, but it's just one small part of this huge story.
Right. And that's not to say our actions don't matter,
Yeah.
but it's about seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's like realizing your own problems are pretty small compared to everything else going on in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe instead of trying to conquer nature, we should be thinking about how to live with it.
How to be a part of it
Right.
and how to protect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because our actions now will affect things for a long, long time.
So that means being careful about how much energy we use.
Yeah.
And cutting down on waste. And supporting policies that are good for the environment. Those things really matter.
Absolutely. They may seem small, but when a lot of people do them, it adds up.
Yeah, like a ripple effect.
Exactly. And it's also about learning to appreciate nature more. The more we understand it, the more we'll want to protect it.
It's like getting a really valuable gift. You wouldn't just throw it away. You'd want to take care of it and keep it safe.
That's a great way to put it. And that's what it all comes down to, isn't it? Knowing that Earth can survive without us. How does that change the way we see ourselves?
And what we do while we're here.
Exactly. How can we take better care of this planet?
It's a tough question.
It is. But it's one we all need to think about.
Yeah, there's not one right answer. But maybe that's the point. Maybe it's about asking these questions and figuring out what we can each do.
And remember those Voyager spacecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Even if nobody ever finds them, there's still a powerful symbol
Of what?
of how curious we are,
Yeah.
how much we want to explore, and how we want to leave our mark on the universe.
It's like a time capsule,
Oh.
a snapshot of humanity.
And in a way, we're all doing that, aren't we? Leaving behind some kind of mark.
Yeah.
Through what we do and what we create.
That's a nice thought.
So this whole idea of Earth without humans, it's really made us think.
It has. But ultimately, it's about understanding our place in the world.
And realizing that we have the power to change things,
For better or worse.
for better or worse.
Well, we've been on quite the journey today, haven't we? Imagining Earth without us.
It's been a wild ride for sure. Skyscrapers crumbling, wildlife taking over, nuclear meltdowns, and then those Voyager spacecraft out there in space. It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And we've talked about some pretty big ideas, too. Time, resilience, legacy. But I think the most important thing is what it all means for us right here, right now.
Absolutely. It's not about predicting the future. It's about looking at our relationship with the planet, you know?
Yeah, like taking a step back and seeing the bigger picture. So how do we actually use this new perspective? How do we shift from wanting to conquer nature to wanting to live with it?
Well, I think it starts with understanding that we're all connected. We're part of this planet, not separate from it.
Yeah.
Everything we need comes from Earth. And what we do affects everything around us.
So it's not just about like big policies or global movements. It's about the little things we do every day.
Exactly. Like being careful about how much energy we use, not wasting things, making good choices about what we buy, supporting businesses that are good for the environment. All that stuff adds up.
Yeah, like if everyone makes a small change, it can have a big impact.
Right. It's also about appreciating the natural world. You know, the more we learn about it, the more we'll want to protect it.
It's like when you see a really beautiful sunset or a wild animal. It makes you realize how amazing nature is and how important it is to keep it safe.
Exactly. So as we wrap things up here on the deep dive, we'll leave you with one last thought. Knowing that Earth can survive without us, what will you do to make sure it thrives with us? What kind of mark do you want to leave on this planet?
It's a big question, but it's one worth thinking about because ultimately we're all writing the story of Earth together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.